Hi everyone, I'm Joey. I'm the CAD and mechanical lead on FTC Team Force Green 10265 from St. Louis, Missouri. And I want to make these videos to teach others how to use CAD, especially other first teams, so they can learn how to design their own robots and their own 3D printed parts. But hopefully after anyone watches these videos, they'll be able to design anything they want, such as this cool tape measure machine that we designed for our past season's Freight Frenzy robot. So in this series, we'll cover many different things, such as how to create strong and reliable 3D printed parts, how to create optimal CAD designs, how to use the 3D printer, how to repair and modify a 3D printer, learn how to post-process 3D prints, and about different kinds of 3D printing filament. Hopefully it doesn't look and sound like I'm recording this on a toaster, because I'm new to this, so we'll learn together. I haven't set up this cool keyboard overlay so you can see what I'm doing. So hopefully it all works out and you can leave some feedback in the comments. So the first thing we should cover is why our team chose to use Autodesk Fusion 360. The first reason is mainly because you can get it for free as long as you're a student. You can just Google download Autodesk Fusion 360 for free, and all you have to do is upload a picture of a school transcript or any school document so that they can verify you're a student, and you can get it for free super easily. Next, it lets you collaborate in teams, so it's really easy to share your robot design with other team members. And it also doesn't require an incredibly powerful computer to run, so anybody can run it, which is great. But before we start designing anything in Fusion 360, we first need to know the basics of how it works. So Fusion uses designs that are based on components that you can see over here. A component serves as a part that is capable of motion, has its own unique origin, can also serve as a container for a variety of design objects, including bodies, sketches, construction planes, which we'll go over later, and other components. It's also a sketch-based program, meaning that 2D sketches can be brought into the third dimension using a variety of tools such as Extrude or Loft or Revolve. And lastly, it utilizes a parametric workflow that you can see down here in the timeline, which means every feature that you do is based off features that come before it. So instead of changing the whole design, I can just scroll back in the timeline and change the very first thing, and it'll update the rest of the design, which is super convenient. So just so everyone's on the same page, we'll go over all the features in Fusion and what they're called. So first over here is the data panel, which you access by clicking this button, and this is where all your designs and projects are stored. Here's your design window, and this is where you'll see your designs. Up here you have all the tools, as well as these menus up here that lets you access other kinds of tools. Over here is the browser, and down here is the timeline. The browser is what stores all your components, construction planes, bodies, canvases, sketches, and down here in the timeline is where all your features are stored, such as sketches, extrudes, mirrors, chamfers, anything that you do to the model will be recorded down here. And before we start modeling, real quick, we should change some default settings, so I just find it easier to use. You go up here to the very top right and click Preferences. This opens a menu where you can change any settings that you would want. So first thing, the default modeling orientation should be set to Z up. If you try to design anything that you're going to 3D print and import that into 3D printing software and have it set to Y up, everything comes out sideways. It is not ideal, so I like to keep it on Z up. And under design, I've unchecked the allow 3D sketching of lines and splines. So sometimes that can be useful, and I will have to go back in and recheck that box. But often it just gets in the way, and when I'm trying to make a 2D sketch, it gets all wonky and I'll be in the third dimension without wanting to. I think it's just cleaner having that off by default. So I'll hit apply and OK. And now we're ready to start modeling. Real quick before we start designing, I just wanted to go over how to move around in Fusion. And don't mind that I'm wearing an orange shirt. I just added this clip in as an afterthought because I thought it was important. So to orbit like this, all you have to do is hold Shift and the middle mouse button and move your mouse around. And to pan from side to side, is just hold down the middle mouse. And to zoom, is just use the scroll wheel. So it's pretty easy. Or if you don't have a mouse, which I do recommend, you could just use the view cube up here and left click on that, and you can rotate it around just like this. So next we'll just go over how to create some basic designs. It'll just be made of, try some cubes, rectangular prisms, cones, things like that, just to get a grasp of how the program works. So when you first open it and open your data panel, you'll probably see something like this. What we want to do first is create a new project. Now I already have a bunch of them for various things I've been working on, but if you don't have one already, just hit new project. I'll call this tutorial. And then once that's created, you open it up and now you can start designing. So you'll see in your design window, this is called Untitled. The first thing you should do, even before you start building whatever you're making, is make sure you save it. And this way you can give it a title, and it'll also allow you to import other components, which we don't need to do right now, but that's something you'd have to do if, say, you were creating a design for your robot. So if we wanted to make a cube, there are already features that are built in for that, but that doesn't teach you a lot about how to do it, so I'm going to walk you through the basics. So this is how you create any shape, really. The first thing you need to do is create a sketch, which is up in the top left by this green plus sign. And next it's going to ask you to select a plane that you want to put your sketch on. So again, the sketches are 2D, and you bring them into the third dimension. So I'll draw the bottom face of my cube. So I'll select this bottom plane right here. And a cube is really just a 3D square. So what I need to do is draw a square. So I can do that by hitting R for rectangle, and it will ask me where I want to put the first corner of my rectangle at. And I'll just select this circle right here, which is the origin of the design. And I'll click once, and now I can move my mouse to wherever I want to put the other corner. So I'll just click right about here, and now I have a square. Or it's roughly a square. If I want to add dimensions, I can hit D and select one of the lines. So I'll make this one 80 millimeters, and then I'll make this one 80 millimeters. Now to bring the square into a cube, I'll hit E for extrude, and it'll automatically select the square since that was the only enclosed region in my sketch. Now I can just drag this arrow, and I'll set that to 80 millimeters and hit OK. And now I have this cube. Now if I realize that the dimensions of the cube were wrong, it's super easy to go back and edit it. All I have to do is go back in the timeline, see this first sketch icon. I can right click that and hit edit sketch. Now I can change the dimensions to the updated design and just hit finish sketch, and it'll automatically update it for me. And this process works very similarly for a variety of other shapes such as cylinders. So again, I'll hit create sketch, and I want to draw the bottom face of my cylinder, so I'll select the bottom face. And this time I'll hit C for circle, and I'll select the center point, just about here looks good. And then I can type in the dimensions of my circle, hit enter, and now I can extrude it by hitting E. And I can just drag it to whatever height I want and hit OK. Alright, so I'm back with the orange shirt on, and now I'm going to teach you how to make a cone. So this process is a little different because it's not a consistent width the whole way up. You know, it starts wide at the base and narrows at the top, so we can't just use a normal extrude. So we could use a loft or a revolve, but I think a revolve would be better for this. So I'm going to create a sketch, and this time I'm going to create it on the side. And we're going to draw half the cross section of a cone. And if you imagine a cone from the side, it looks like an isosceles triangle, and we just need to draw half of that. So we're going to draw a right triangle just like this. And to use that, we're going to hit L for line, and I'll select the origin, and now I can move the end of the line wherever I want it. I'm going to make sure that it's vertical, and you can see here that blue symbol next to the line shows that the line is vertical and it's locked in place. So I'm going to set this as 30 millimeters, hit enter, and for my next line, for the base, I'm going to again hit L and click the origin, and I'll make this one 15 millimeters. So I'll hit enter. And you can see that these lines are black because they're locked in place, and I can't move them if I try to. You see this one is locked here vertical by this symbol, and they're also locked perpendicular by this symbol. If I just put a random line out here, that's blue because it's not anchored to anything. I can move it around. So when you're doing your sketches, it's important to make sure that everything's black and locked in place. Because like I did with the cube, if I try to go back and change something, it could mess something up and everything will come out wonky. So you gotta make sure all your dimensions are in and everything is nice and locked down. So for the last line of the triangle, I'm just gonna click the endpoints of each of the lines. And there we go. So now it shades the triangle in blue because it's an enclosed region. And now to access the Revolve tool, I can just use the keyboard shortcut S for search, and I'll just type in Revolve. So I'll click on that, the blue one, because it's a solid. And once that menu opens up, it will select the triangle. And for axis, we want the center. So I'll select this line, and then that will automatically generate a cone. And now once I have just one shape, I'm no longer limited to just drawing sketches on these orange planes right here. I can draw sketches on the faces of these shapes, and now the possibilities are really endless. There we go. Now we've got ourselves a robot that we just modeled using rectangles, circles, and the Extrude and Revolve tool. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. And obviously this was the very, very basics. And slowly we'll start building up our skills and doing some more and more advanced stuff. So we'll be able to create some pretty cool robots in the future, and I hope you'll come back to see that. Thanks for watching.